self-distancing. And our lesson for today is on social health. Learners, let's go on page 16. Learning competencies. This is what you have to know at the end of this lesson. We should be able to identify the stages and characteristics of human growth development from the diagrams. It means we'll be provided with the diagrams and we'll be able to tell which stage is that. Second competency, we'll be able to describe the physical changes that take place in human from birth to death. It means what happened to us as human beings during our lives. The third competency, we'll be able also to explain how each person grows and matures at a different pace. Let's move on. In our previous lesson, we have learned the following, which are the changes on boys and girls. It says, boys grow beard. It's only that I'm wearing a mask now, can't see mine. The voice of the boys deepen. It means boys, their voices have to change. Girls' hips widen. So the sizes of the hips of the girls have to get a little bit bigger. Boys and the girls, they both develop pimples. And when it's come to ladies as well, they start with menstrual cycle, or the menstruation begins. Let's go to page 17. Before we step on the depth of our lesson, let's look at the words that might be difficult for us. Stages. What is a stage? A stage is a step in the development, or it's a development process of somebody. Human growth. Human growth is when an infant body matures into a body of an adult. It means we are looking at from being a child or a baby until we become an old person. Matures is when the body is fully developed. It means you become a very big person now, or a grown somebody. Physical changes. These are the changes that relate to the body. It means we can see them. When you are thinking of something that's not a physical change, physical changes should be possibly seen or can be identified on your body. We look at the pace. The pace is the speed at which something happens. How fast or how slow does the pace? And we look at the genitals, the organs involved in reproduction. We said, let's go back to our competence, which is on page 16, which says we will be able to identify the stages and the characteristics of human growth and development from the diagram. It says, we are studying the very, very first stage of life. Everybody, or all of us, no matter how big or small we are, at one point in life, we are all infants. It means we're all babies. How were we looking when we were babies? We were actually very small in bodies. Our heads were a little bit bigger compared to our bodies. We were all born without teeth, and that's the stage where we normally grow very quickly. So those are the characters of somebody who is an infant, the newborns. And if you look on your right-hand side there, you can see a picture of infant. We're moving on. Toddler, which is the next stage or the second stage after being an infant or a baby. How are they looking, or how will you be able to tell that somebody is a toddler? First thing is about the ages or years. A toddler should be at the age of 1 to 3. How do they look like? Their bodies become to get bigger. They learn how to walk. Their coordination skills develop. It means that they start now to do things by themselves. They know that if I want to walk from here to there, I'll hold on a chair or I'll hold on a bed or whatever. As brain and muscles develop, the toddler learn to walk, run, climb, talk, feed, dress by themselves. This is the stage where all of us have learned how to put on our own clothes. That's the second stage of life. We are moving on to page 18. The third stage of life, a child or children, their age should be between 4 and 12. These people are actually young person, not yet an adult. But how do they look like? How will you tell if somebody is a child or not? A child, the body proportions change. The head is not as large in relation to the rest of the body. We have explained in the infant that the head is bigger than the body. But here, if you are a child, the body should be now bigger than the head. Their coordination skills develop further. So here is where you find a lot of them, they try to have their own favorite sport codes. Is where now they develop some of the skills. They become masters of some skills. They name themselves after celebrities because of what they like doing. And then the replacement of milk teeth by permanent teeth. This is the time that they lose their first teeth. Okay? They start shaking them and remove them. That's the stage of being a child. The next stage of life is adolescence, which is also sometimes called teenage stage. Okay? Everybody in this stage, the age has to end with the word teen. It means if your age reads as a teen, you are an adolescent or a teenager. What happens? These people grow to an adult size. Some of them, if you don't know them well, you might even think that they are adults, but they are not. And then boys at this stage, when they are teenagers, what happens with the boys? They grow hair on their faces, which is called beard. Okay? Those are boys. And they also grow hair under their arms. Right? You might realize that one of your brothers start now putting on long sleeves because they don't want you to see the hair that grows under their arms because they are teenagers. Both boys and girls, they grow hair under their genitals. Around their reproductive parts, they grow their hair. Their voices deepen. Their voices become deeper. My voice was not like this when I was a boy. But when I became a teenager, I got this voice. The chest and the shoulders widen. You realize that the shoulder of the boys become broadened. It moves out of the neck. The reproductive organs grow larger. It means their genital parts, they become bigger. The boys, the testicles, they start to produce sperm. It means they are at the stage of making babies. The girls grow hair under the arms and around the genitals. It means under their armpit, they grow hair and also around their reproductive parts. Their hips, the side of the hips become wider, it moves out of the body. They start with the menstrual periods, or the menstruation begins. They are going to have their monthly period every month. And also their ovaries, which you can't see. You will learn more about that at the later stage. The ovaries start to produce eggs. Those are the characteristics of adolescents or teenagers. I hope you are all with me. Let's move on to page 19. We are looking at adults, okay? So now we are talking about people of my stage. We are done with Pomwene here. Now we are talking about me. What people should be, or what are the expectations of people at my stage, or in my stage? Little physical changes after reaching adulthood, okay? So when an adult person doesn't really change, the changes are hardly seen because they happen at a very low pace, okay? So they don't change, they don't grow fast anymore as the young ones. Some adults gain weight. The only normally thing that changes with them is the body size. Either become bigger, a little bit small. Okay? Men may become bald, and at some stage also, women stop menstruating during menopause. Some of these things you're also going to learn deeper about them as time goes. Then we go to the final stage of life. That's old age. These are the grandmothers and the grandfathers. They are 60 years and more. What happens to them? Their skin develop wrinkles. It means the kind of spots and falling skin. Hair becomes gray. Normally you hear people saying that I'm having a white head. It's normally not white but gray. Their hair change from being black or dark or brown and become gray. The sight, the hearing, and the memory may become weaker. When you are staying with a grandmother or grandfather, they normally call you closer when you're talking to them because they can't hear well. Or sometimes you might realize that they even send you somewhere because they can't see well. The muscles become weaker. Even if you feel them, you can feel that their muscles are actually a bit weaker compared to teenagers, adults, and the rest of the people. And they become tired so easily. When you walk at distance with your grandmother, grandfather, you realize that sometimes they pause the walk or telling you that let's rest a little bit because I'm tired. Those are the characteristics of the old age, which is 60 and above. Bear with me. We are moving to page 20. On page 20, we are stepping a little bit further when we are looking at how everybody grows and matures at a different pace. We have looked at the stages of life, but it doesn't mean that all of us have to reach those stages at the same time, even though if you were born in the same day. It says, our bodies change in similar ways, meaning that your body have to change as mine through life. But it doesn't happen at the same time or at the same age, depending on the pace. Remember, we talked about the pace already, how fast or slow. Sometimes the differences in timing can be difficult to cope with when you are growing up, okay? One might feel that one is behind everybody else. Some people might even think that if their peers, somebody who's even born after them is having beard, why they don't develop beard yet, they might think that they are behind. But that's not the case. Just hold on until your time comes. You are talking about the pace. This happens because we grow and develop at different pace from others on the same age. If you look at your class, you look at your friends. If you ask how old is everybody in your class, you realize that some people that are having the same age as you, some are even looking bigger, some are even looking younger than you while they're sharing the same age. It's just because everybody is unique in his or her own way. We continue. Humans grow and mature at a different pace or speed. We have just explained that. And it could be because of different reasons. Now we have to understand why women have to grow fast or why women have to grow slowly than anybody else. Why some teachers who have the same age as other teachers are looking younger than the other teachers. This can be some of the reasons. It can be the genetics. This is something that we are born with. It can be nutrition. Because of what we eat, we don't eat the same thing every day. Or different houses have different meals. It can also be because of health. Some people might have different diseases that can avoid them from getting or from growing fast, which is maybe making them to grow very slowly. However, even though, no matter at what stage of development we are, we should always treat others with respect and kindness, irrespective of how fast or how slow somebody grows. You have to treat that person as much as you want to be treated. We are concluding. We are saying that various stages of human growth and development. We have the infant, we have the toddler, we have children or child, adolescence, which is a teenager, we have adults, and we have our grandparents, which is old age, above the age of 60. I hope you have listened very well. Let's taste our knowledge. Let's go to page 21, activity 1 for the day. Question 1. The following stage of human growth and development are mixed up. Now, we want you to rewrite them, or the words in the correct order, from the youngest to the oldest stage of development. You are having them on the left, all of them written down. Now we want you to write them in order from which one comes first in somebody's life until the last one. Question 2. Name the developmental stage in which the maturing of the reproductive organs take place. We are saying that the maturing of organs, reproductive organs specifically, it takes place in one of the stages. Which one is it? You write it down there. Question 3. Complete the table by describing the main physical changes that can occur at each stage in the human life cycle. So what are we expecting you to do? We want you to complete the characteristics that happen to everybody in his or her stage of development. We have growth or developmental stages on our left: infant, toddler, child, adolescent, adult, and old age. And then on our right side, we have main physical changes that occur. Infant is already done for you as an example. So you have now to continue with the rest by giving all the details regarding each of the stage of development. I hope you have enjoyed your video. But before that, let's not forget to sanitize our hands and keep self-distancing as well as wearing our mask. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Josie and I am Peck. My mommy used to tell me that I need to wash my hands and sanitize it to keep the germs away. Also, one thing you can remember is to sing the alphabet song while you wash your hands. After that, it will be super clean. I usually do it. And until next time, bye!
Humanitarian crises are all too familiar to television viewers. Civil wars that cause huge movements of refugees, worldwide pandemics, and natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis. This is the way most of us are used to seeing these heart-wrenching events, on a screen in front of us, watching passively. But what if you could step into the frame and actually feel what it's like for the individuals on the ground?
People come out of it feeling enlightened and often moved and often ready to take action. A lot of people automatically say, well, what can I do? How can I get involved?
Garbo Aurora is leading a team at the United Nations who are using cutting-edge technology to raise awareness, empathy and funds, both to respond to humanitarian crises and to bolster support for a new set of sustainable development goals around the globe.
Virtual reality is the ability to really take part in a story that usually you're only a passive spectator on. And you actually get the sensation of feeling like you're being there.
By using multiple cameras that can record in all directions and software that can stitch the images together, virtual reality creates an experience that enables the viewer to see a movie from every angle, above, below, and behind.
It's exciting for the UN, to be involved in some of those early experiments of how we're trying to tell stories, make these films, and work with some of the most cutting-edge people in the industry on it.
So the UN reached out to us and connected, and we realized that there was a great opportunity here to tell some very important stories and to tell them in a way that we thought would be totally new and highly impactful. The way that I define virtual reality at this point in time is basically the hacking of your senses to convince you that you're somewhere other than where you are. Often, I think of it as a sense of vulnerability. So one of the things we've realized in some of our stories is you have a heightened sense of empathy and a heightened sense of connection as a result of that vulnerability.
That heightened sense of connection and empathy was exactly what Garbo Aurora was looking to create at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Not only to inspire leaders to take action, but also to influence donors to increase funding for disaster response efforts.
I'd started experimenting with using innovative ways of advocacy, and I started talking to a lot of different partners and people. What could we do that would be incredible? And someone said, I just came from a meeting at Samsung, and, with some of these other virtual reality headsets, wouldn't it be amazing if you got all of those elite people who could actually go to a refugee camp, or they could go to an Ebola clinic? I just really felt it would get our issues highlighted.
In addition to the screenings at Davos, virtual reality portals have been set up to view the films at high-level political forums around the world. The virtual reality film on display was Clouds Over Sidra.
Clouds Over Sidra is a short film in virtual reality about a girl named Sidra who lives in Zatari camp, which is a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan. And it is a story about a young girl who is giving you a tour of the camp, of what it's like, what her life is like. When the film debuted in Davos, it was a sensation to everyone we showed it to. They come out of it very deeply moved. I'd say half the people who watch Clouds Over Sidra cry. And then we cut a version for UNICEF, where it's face-to-face fundraisers. The way they do that is usually someone with a clipboard on the street in Europe or in different countries. So they thought, well, what if we got people to experience virtual reality on the street?
Quite sad. They don't have a good environment to stay. We try our best to help them.
Early reporting from UNICEF has shown that when using virtual reality, they've doubled the effectiveness of their fundraising efforts. This report was produced by Ben Lybrand for the United Nations.
Mama! Go away!
world is a crazy place right now. But don't panic. Take a breath. Slow down. Or better yet, stop completely. We'll still be here when everything settles down. In this time of uncertainty, look to nature. She has all the answers, you know. We're not only giving ourselves time to reset, we're giving nature time to restore, revive, restart. We're saving ourselves and we're saving the world. Stay home now, so that we can welcome you to Namibia again soon. Yes, the world's a crazy place right now, but don't despair. Find the joy, cherish hope, breathe. Take a moment, take a few, and someday soon you'll once again be able to stay in wonder at this magnificent view. The world's a crazy place right now, but don't worry, we'll still be here. We'll see you again soon.